What's up? We're back and slightly unprofessional because I took a shower. I had my first day of my job today. I bagged groceries. It was mostly fine. I go back tomorrow. Wish me luck. Yeah, that's my 2-second life update. Not a lot goes on in my life. I don't have a script again today just because I did not have time. Job. But I did do some research, so I have a vague idea of what we're talking about today. It's just not as specific, and I'm a tad low energy because I'm sleepy. So this one will probably be shorter, and I'm sorry for that, but it is what it is. I'm back into our intro. I'm still here. She's here, but you can't see her. She's on the floor, and the way that I crop this, you won't be able to see her, but I promise she's down there. So sorry you don't get to see my dog today, but you still aren't allowed to leave, regardless of whether or not she's here. Congrats. So today we're talking about the fact that I think scammers have gotten a lot less creative as time has gone on. Because I was talking to my grandpa the other day. He used to be a teller at a bank, and then he was a teller at a bank in the time frame when being a teller at a bank led to being promoted to doing big banking. So I was talking to him, and he started telling me about the scams that he would run into, and I feel like it just required a lot more work. There was a lot more finesse in the 80s when he was a banker, and I just think that in current times it's so much simpler because it's just you write one email, and also it's probably not even you writing it. You're probably using some stupid AI to write it, and then you're mass sending it to people, or you're having it call people. Whereas back then they had to put in work. I'm so sleepy. We're probably looking at a 10 to 15 minute video. I don't have a lot to say today. So in today's world, we're doing those phone calls and those emails, and they're putting those fake scanners over a real scanner, so that way when you tap your card, insert your card, swipe your card, it takes your information. I learned all about that during my training. I just took a shower. I don't know if I said that. That's why my hair is bad. Which is so low effort. You're just putting on a simple, I don't know if it's simple, but a small little device, and then you're causing problems. And I just think it's disappointing. Because as my grandpa was telling me, he was when I was a bank teller, one little scheme they tried to pull would be to come in. Do I make this a bit? No, I don't have time. They'd come in and there'd be two of them in this situation, and they'd have a wallet, and they'd be like, hey, we found this, you should put $500 in it as a sign of goodwill, and we'll find the person who did it. And every time he was like, no, I'm not doing that, that's dumb. And I just think even that requires much more finesse and charisma than what is currently going on. And scams, and obviously scams aren't good, I'm not pro scamming, but if you're gonna scam, be interesting about it. That lady that scammed Wendy's. If you're gonna scam people, make a whole employee out of it. Don't just change the address of a large company so you get all their mail. But I do props to that guy who just straight up sent Google bills, and Google paid them. That's iconic behavior. That's an acceptable scam. Don't scam people, I beg. Anyway, so I was looking up older scams because I was more interested in those. So another one, which is why you don't have access to a check as soon as you deposit it, is because they actually do checks on that now to make sure that the check is backed by money, and they're not just giving you money and then they're not going to get the money from wherever the check is from. Because so basically what they would, in them olden times of the 80s and the 90s, they'd give a check, they'd write a check from bank A to bank B, and then take all of the money out before so that way they had that money, and the bank didn't, and then they just kind of, they just like make it a loop, so they'd keep on like being like, well, put $1,000 in this account, I promise it's from this other account, and then they take all of the money out of the other account and that account, and then they do it again, and they just kind of make a circle of making a lot more money. But like that required them to go, they had to in-person deposit these checks. They did not have mobile banking. They were charismatic. And I just think we lost the whimsy of scamming. If you're gonna scam, be whimsical. Don't be sad. If you're gonna scam people, come up with the idea on your own. Or if you can't even come up with it on your own, make sure it's one that you have to put effort in, and it's not just somebody else's scam. That's boring and uninteresting. I am uninterested. I know I saw some more. There's also just being like going. This one is actually still scams today. I know this, but it would be like, here's $500, and then be like, wait, can I double see that money? And then they take like slip some of it out, and then they give it back and be like, you only gave me 300, but I gave you 500. So which is why what cashiers have to double, like if you give them $30 and then you're like, wait a minute, can I count that again? I think I messed up. If you take it back and then give it back to the cashier because you're like, yes, it was $30, they still have to count out all of those bills again to confirm that it is that amount of money, in case you have pocketed a couple of those bills, because then the company loses money. We're just going over what I learned in my training about scamming now, because that's what I've been doing. But if you have any ideas for what you want me to talk about, let me know. I have a couple ideas, but they require some research that I don't have time to do at the moment, and I would like to still do a video a day, so I don't know what I'll talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow is a question, but tomorrow for me is today. For you, when you watch this, it is the day. Oh, another thing that they do is go, this is a cash card, so you have to click cash. But when you click cash, like as you're working on a register, it completes the transaction, because then it expects that you are taking cash and you are putting it in to the drawer. So they swipe this card, but the card doesn't do anything because the computer thinks the transaction's gone through, that you have taken cash and you have put it in this drawer. So again, company loses money and they didn't pay for whatever they got. That one, I'll hand it to that one. That one has a tad bit of creativity. I think the scams that you have to pull off like in a store have more creativity, because you have to like look someone in the eye and go, no, this is the truth. I'm not lying to you. But you are lying to them. And I just think, like, morally, are you okay with that? Who knows? There's like a whole bunch of scams that people ran, like the guy that made, like, did the first Ponzi scheme. But to be honest, I don't know what a Ponzi scheme is, and I was sleepy, so I did not read about what a Ponzi scheme was. Then there's also that guy that the movie that Leonardo DiCaprio was in, that was based on, which is like, that was also a really common thing in banks, which is you just wear like a security guard uniform or like a bank uniform, and you just walk in and go, no, I work here, I just need to take this, and then you take it. And again, I think scammers should have to have charisma again. Like, if you're gonna scam people, put in the effort. It can't just be like, you write the worst email I've ever seen in my life claiming to be a Nigerian prince and or my family member that's emailing me for some reason. I think you just need more whimsy than that. Also, whoever's doing those stupid DMB ones, knock it off. It's not gonna get me, but it freaks me out every time, and so now you're just like, you're gonna kill me. Actually, my anxiety is gonna get me, and it's gonna be your fault. I'm gonna have my family sue you at my funeral. Because it's a scam going on, bare minimum in Idaho right now, I don't know if it's everywhere, where basically people are getting texts from the DMV that are like, you got a ticket and you didn't pay for it. Pay for it, here's the link, and then it's a scam. They just take your money and or your information. I don't know, because I've never clicked on the link and I didn't pay attention to the news when they were talking about it. But I've gotten that one a couple of times. My dad's gotten it a couple of times. My mom's gotten it a couple of times. Everybody's gotten it. Knock it off. It's not gonna work. I mean, I'm sure it's working because that's why they're still doing it. But stop sending it to me. It's not gonna work on me. Yeah. I'm sorry this was uninteresting. I am sleepy. I'm gonna go to bed. I hope tomorrow I can be more up and at 'em and doing a good job. But who knows? Let's see if I can get my dog to come say hello for the ending. Lexi, come here. Lexi. Lexi. Hey. Nah, she's not getting up. She's out. She'll probably get up the second I do to get on my bed, but she's not getting up at the moment. And I'm wearing shorts. I'm wearing my pajamas because I took a shower, so therefore I will not be standing up. But have a good day, y'all. You don't have to stay here anymore, I promise. I'm kind of sorry I made you stay here at all for this one. This one is low budget. I'm sorry for that. Hopefully tomorrow's will be better. I don't know what I will talk about tomorrow, to be honest. Haven't decided. Peace. Peace.